Even the losers do get lucky sometimes. And the Orioles, however, have not gotten lucky in their previous games. They have not done so well in the first 5 games. This is the final game in Cleveland of the 4-game set. And the Orioles will try to break that streak and not have a Game 7. But we shall see how this will work out. The Indians will send left-hander Greg Swindell to the mound. 1988, Swindell. Record of 18-14 with a 3.20 ERA, so arguably their ace. And he'll be going against right-hander Mike Morgan of the Orioles. Morgan's already had a game in this replay and did not fare all that well. And Mike Morgan, 1-6, 5.43 ERA, so obviously not top of his game. We will get everything going here as soon as I get the lineups out for you. We already have the starting pitchers set aside, so now let's bring the lineups in. And not a whole lot of changes for the Orioles. There are a few changes for the Indians. We got Stone, Ripken, Murray, Lynn, Sheets, Shue, Kennedy, and Orslack, so pretty standard there. For the Indians, Joe Carter's getting the day off. Mel Hall is going to take over in center, and Dave Clark's going to be in left. So we got Franco, Upshaw, Tabler, Jacoby, Hall, Snyder, Clark, Bell, and Allenson. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Joe Carter. I think it's just they just wanted to give him a day off for that particular day. So as far as I know, that's the whole gist of that. So that's that. All right, so we will go ahead and get everything lined up here, hopefully, as best we can be. When needed, I do have the Strat-o-matic app, player card app. If there's anybody missing that I need, you can get that all done. I've already written down the the wild pitch and balk ratings for the pitchers. So they're all set, squared away. A reminder that Cleveland Stadium, Mistake by the Lake, Municipal Stadium, singles for righties and lefties are 1 to 11. For home runs, lefties 1 to 7, righties 1 to 10. All right, so we are at the point where we are ready to get going. And it'll be, much like it's been pretty much the whole year so far for the Orioles, Jeff Stone will be in to lead things off. I'll see if I can't get a little bit closer so you can see the cards as well as the score sheet. At least I'll try. Super advanced, of course, except I'm not doing any robbing home runs or blocking the plate, but pretty much everything else, I'm trying to do everything else I can super advanced. So we're ready to go. Greg Swindell, the lefty. You got to remember to look off the left side of the hitter cards when we go against Swindell. Here's Jeff Stone, lefty on lefty. We got a 5.8. And a 5.8 for Swindell against a left-hander is a strikeout. So right away, Greg Swindell takes care of Jeff Stone, 1 away. Brings up Bill Ripken. And we get a 4.5 against a right-hander. So Swindell, it's a fly ball to center. 2 up, 2 down. Here comes Big Brother Cal. We get a 6.3, and that is a ground ball pitcher X. And Swindell, one thing I forgot to check on him was his defense. He is an E6, but I don't know his range. Let's see here. I used to assume 2, but since we're doing super advanced, they will a lot of times have the actual ones we need here, and I should have written that down. I didn't do it, so I'll do it now. Swindell is a 3, so he's a 3E6, not a 2E6. So a 3E6. 19 is not going to matter anyway. That's a 4, so we're checking E6 and a 4. There is no 4, so it's a good play for Swindell. He will toss it over to Upshaw. Let's make that a little bit better here. He will toss over to Upshaw, and the inning is over. So 3 up, 3 down go the Birds. And we go to the bottom of the first for Mike Morgan, right-hander. We'll be facing Julio Franco to get us going in the bottom of the first, righty on righty. And that's a 5.6. So Morgan against a right-hander, 5-6 is a pop out to short. One away. And I actually realized in the previous game I made a mistake in reading the one of the card plays, and it may have cost the Orioles the game, possibly. There was when they were scoring some runs, there was a time when I was using the player card app. I believe it was when Lasky was pitching, that there was a 5-6 roll, and it was a left-handed batter, but I checked the right-handed blank instead of the left-handed blank, and that result was a ground ball to second, where the actual result was actually a base hit, so the Orioles would have scored an extra run. Never know how it would have played out in the end, but that did happen, unfortunately. I did catch that when I went back to look at it again, and I thought something might have been up, and it was, so apologize for that. I'll try to be a little bit tighter on my reads, but sometimes that happens when you're doing videos. It's almost unavoidable sometimes. 3-7 for Upshaw, and that's a fly ball to center, and that's out number 2. What I want to try to avoid is making the logic errors where I'm interpreting something incorrectly on the rules. That's what I want to really avoid. Now, if I look at the wrong column, that's just human error. We can't always help that. 3-7, Tabler strikes out. And that's going to end the inning. So both pitchers, no problems in the first. We go to the second, no score. And Greg Swindell back out on the bump. He'll be facing Eddie Murray. Murray, a 4-10. He's a switch hitter batting right. So that's the ballpark check. And on a single, it is 1 through an 11. This is the first time the D20 has showed up. And so on this kind of roll, it's a base hit. So Eddie Murray gets a ballpark single out of it. He's aboard. That'll bring up Fred Lynn, and now the D20 will come in full force for the first time. Roll them separately. Roll the D20 separately. And that's a 2, so that is a chance for a balk or a wild pitch. We'll check Swindell, or, yep, it'll be Swindell. Balk rating on Swindell. His balk rating is a 0. So both pitchers have 0 balk ratings. They do have wild pitch ratings, but not balk ratings. So here's Lynn. 110 against a lefty for Lynn. That's ground ball first base A. That's a 3-6-3 double play. Neatly turned by Upshaw and by Jay Bell. So 2 quick outs. And that'll bring up Larry Sheets. So even though Swindell's a lefty, Cal Sr., his last game as manager, he didn't mind putting the lefties out there. It's a 1-9 for Sheets, and he's going to get a split chance single, 1-13. 14-20 is a line out. That's 12, so it is a single. So the D20 was kind again to the O's. But there are 2 outs for Rick Really Big Shoe. And if you wonder where that expression comes from, that's an Ed Sullivan thing. He said we're going to have a really big show today, but the way he said it was kind of, the show sounded like shoe. And then Chris Berman always, that was his name for Rick Shoe. So just kind of stuck with me. I always remember, but I remember my younger days in the 80s and early 90s listening to Chris Berman give all those names and come up with names to begin with, which was always interesting to me. 1 is a potential wild pitch, and Swindell's a wild pitch rating of 4. So we'll see if we get a 4 on this. We do not. There's no wild pitch. So Shoe will come back. And we get a 110. 110 for Shoe is a split chance against the left-hander. 1-14 is a single with 1 star. That's 12, so it's a single 1 star. And again, the D20 is kind to the Orioles early on. It is only 1 star, so runners at first and second with 2 outs for Terry Kennedy, the catcher. Another lefty on lefties. So the Orioles actually have a lot of lefties in the lineup today. 3-5 for Kennedy against a lefty is a ground ball to short. And that's going to take care of things in the second for the O's. Double play really cost them because they did get, obviously, 3 base hits, but don't score any runs, and double play will do that to you. So now we go to the bottom of the second for Mike Morgan, and he'll be facing Brooke Jacoby, who had a great game last time up. 4-6 for Jacoby against Morgan. Against a righty, 4-6 is a split chance. 1-2 will be a single. 3-20 lines to short. And look at that, it's a 2, so it's The D20 is kind to the Indians offense as well, so it's been fair to both sides, it looks like. Here's Mel Hall. He will lead or come up with nobody out and runner on. We get a 3-6, and a 3-6 for Hall against a right-hander is a strikeout. So Mel Hall out on strikes. That'll bring up Corey Snyder. O's looking to see if they can turn a double play in this one. Nothing on the 20. It's a 4-5 against a right-hander from Morgan. It's a ground ball, but it's a ground ball C, so the runner will advance. As Bill Ripken makes the play, Jacoby will scoot over to second base. So he's in scoring position with 2 outs for Dave Clark, who gets the first start of this series. Left-hander, nothing on the 20. 6-10. 6-10 is another ballpark single check. It's only 1 star, though, so even if he gets it, the runner won't score. 1 to an 11 would do it. It's a 13, so it doesn't matter anyway. He's going to line to Bill Ripken. And the inning is over. So we go to the third, and still nobody has given the scoreboard company. It is zip to zip. Greg Swindell, he's got a 6 for his fatigue start, and Morgan's got a 5, so at least they should be able to go a couple more innings with no issues. Here's Orsilac, Slackman, 6-10 against a lefty for Swindell is a ground ball first base X. Upshaw is a 3, E15. 3 and a 4 is a single. Check an error, it's a 7, E15, and there's also a 7, so not a good play for Upshaw right there. The 3 and the 7. The 3 and the 4. 3 and the 4 is an SI1. And you get over here, E15 and a 7's right there. So it's a single plus the error. So a single plus the error on a SI1. Runners would advance 2 bases if they were on base, but he is the leadoff batter. So it's going to be a single. And then an E3 is going to allow him to get to second. So that is an error on Upshaw. So runner at scoring position with nobody out for Jeff Stone. He's not even a good bunter, so we can't even bunt. He would be a D bunter. So it's 18, nothing on the 20. It's a 1-5 against a lefty. But he's going to single. How about that? He singles to center, does Jeff Stone. And remember, Carter's not in center anymore, so they don't have that -1 arm. They got a 0 arm in Mel Hall. Orsilac runs at a 16. 15 for being held. Does not get the +2 for 2 outs. So since there's nobody out, it would be a 1 to 15 chance. Boy, would it be just like the Orioles to get a guy thrown out? You know what, with nobody out, the way the D20's been rolling, we're going to go ahead and hold Orsilac at third. So runners are at the corners with nobody out. So you would think they certainly should score the runner from third eventually. Here is Ripken, 6-8. 6-8 is a strikeout, so hold the phone, not necessarily. As Bill Ripken strikes out. Here's Cal. Certainly Cal can avoid a double play and get the run home. Infield is at double play depth, 3-9 against a left-hander. 3-9 against a left-hander is a ground ball shortstop A. So wouldn't you know it, taking things for granted, 6-4-3, you make assumptions thinking that something's bound to happen, and it doesn't. And you get a strikeout and a double play from the Ripken brothers. And that's just the way things go for the O's. So obviously I should have sent the runner, but if you roll a 19 on or something on the D20, you're going to say, oh, you should have held him. So hindsight is always D20, D20. All right, here's Jay Bell against Morgan. 5-5 is a ground ball to second. That is handled by Bill Ripken. And here's Gary Allenson, or I'm sorry, Andy Allenson, not Gary Allenson. Gary Allenson played way before Andy Allenson did. 5-7 against a right-hander from Morgan is a line out to second. So Bill Ripken again involved, makes the play. And here's Julio Franco. 3-6 is a 1-8 home run chance. 9-20, he flies to left. It's a 3, so Julio Franco goes yard. One swing of the bat, and the Indians lead it 1-0. So having done pretty much nothing all game, one solo shot takes care of that. The Indians lead it 1-0, and here is Willie Upshaw. Upshaw 2-4, and that's a ground ball back to Morgan to end the inning. So it is a 1-0 lead for the Indians as Julio Franco comes through with a solo blast. And Greg Swindell back out on the hill to face Eddie Murray to start the 4th. Eddie, eat, drink, and be Murray. 110 is against the lefty is a pop out to short. Almost read it off the right side. Had to catch myself. I got to be in the blue with the Orioles because they're facing the lefty. So here's Fred Lynn. 5-9 for Lynn against Swindell. Lefty on lefty is a fly to right. Handled by Corey Snyder. 2 up, 2 down. Here's Larry Sheets. 3-7 for Sheets against the lefty is a walk. So 2-out walk to Sheets. And that'll bring up Rick Shue. See if he can do anything. He did single his first trip. Nothing on the 20. 6-9 against a right-hander for Swindell. Ground ball to second. Handled by Franco. And the inning is over. So we go to the bottom of the 4th. Still 1-0 Tribe. Mike Morgan will come out to face Pat Tabler, DH. Sorry, I hit my little stand there. 2-6 against a righty. 2-6 is a 1-12 single. 13-20, he lines it to short. And that's a single for Pat Tabler. So the D20 has been kind to the hitters all game long. Here's Brooke Jacoby. Chance to add to the Indians' lead. He's already singled once. It's a 2, so it's a chance for a balk or a pass ball. It's a 4, so we're checking the pass ball rating on Kennedy. He's a 2. So there is no pass ball. So we drive on. We get a 1-3 for Jacoby. And that is a walk also. So single and a walk puts 2 on with nobody out. And for Morgan, actually that is his first walk of the game. Swindell's walked 1. All right, so here's Mel Hall. Nothing on the 20. It's a 110 for Hall. That's a single to center field. So now do we go through that same routine with nobody out and try to assume the guy's going to score? Well, Tabler doesn't run well, so that'll be a little bit easier decision. He's an 11. Being held, he's a 10. Center fielder arm. Lynn's a 0. So it's a 1-10. It's a 50-50 proposition. But with nobody out and the bases loaded, they're going to trust that they are not the Orioles and that they will come back. Yeah, I put a 6 there. Should be a 5. They will come back and get those runs home because the bases are loaded and nobody's out. And coming up is Corey Snyder. So Corey Snyder against Morgan. It's a 2, so it's another chance for a balk or a pass ball. And checking the balk rating of Morgan, he's got a 0 balk rating, so there is no balk. So we drive on. Oops, we don't need the 20 on this roll. 3-8 for Snyder is a strikeout, so don't tell me we're going to have it all over again. As Dave Clark comes up, if he hits into a double play, boy, that's really something. Nothing on the 20. It's a 3-5. Oh, he almost did. 3-4 would have been a double play. 3-5 is a bases loaded walk. And that will produce a run. So the runner scores from third. Mr. Tabler ends up scoring anyway, the easy way. Bases remain loaded. Boy, but it was one number away from an ending double play that would have really had some head shaking. Here's Bell. 2-11 for Bell. 1-13 is a grand salami. 14-20, it's a fly to left. So this could be a grand salami and all for Morgan, but it's a 16, so he's not. It's a fly to left, but it is a sacrifice fly. So not a total loss, but certainly not a grand slam either. But the run does score as Jacoby crosses the plate, and the Indians lead it 3-0. With runners at first and second, 2 outs for Andy Allenson, as Morgan tries to get out of this mess. It is a 3-7, and that's going to be a single, but it's only 1 star, so even with 2 outs, they're not able to score. It'll just load the bases. So bases are loaded with 2 outs, and Julio Franco, the batter, and the bullpen for the Orioles are already stirring, as Mike Morgan could be on his last hurrah right here, depending on if he gets Franco or not. 1-4, he does get him. It's a ground ball to short, and the inning is over. So it could have been a lot worse. 2 runs is all they got, so still doable for the Orioles. They're only down 3-0, so but they are facing Swindell, who's a lot better pitcher than Rich Yett. So to think you're going to come back automatically is not necessarily a good thing to be considering. So we go to the 5th, and Swindell will be facing Terry Kennedy. Lefty on lefty. It's a 1-7 for Kennedy, and he strikes out. So Kennedy with the whiff. Here's Joe Orsulak. Slack man. Singled and went to second on an error by Upshaw his first trip. 2-8. He will pop it up to Upshaw this time. No error. It is simply a pop-up. Quickly 2 up, 2 down for Jeff Stone. So Swindell seems to be rolling along here very efficiently. 5-4 against the lefty. He's going to pop it up to Jacoby. And that's going to be the end of the 5th. So nothing doing there for the O's. They seem kind of lifeless on offense. So Game 7 is more and more looking imminent. But we still got a couple innings left, so nothing is guaranteed. Although Frank Robinson is waiting to take over as manager in Game 7, which will be back at Baltimore Memorial Stadium against the Kansas City Royals and Bo Jackson. So that'll be interesting if we get to that. All right, here is Upshaw facing Morgan. 3-7 for Upshaw against a righty is a fly to center. And there's one away. That'll bring up Pat Tabler. 5-3. That's a fly ball left field X. That's Stone. He's a 4E11. A 4E11. 4 and a 3. I know that's going to drop in for a hit. Might be a double. A 4 and a 3 is in fact a double. We'll check an error. It's a 9, and he is an E11. E11. There is no 9, but it is a solid double in the gap. So a solid double for Tabler, as he's now 2 for 3. And he's in scoring position. And that Oriole bullpen, Doug Sisk, loosening as fast as he can. Here's Brooke Jacoby. 2-7 for Jacoby is a strikeout. So that's 2 away. And that's going to bring up Mel Hall. Mel Hall. 212 is a fly to right, but it's clutch. There is a clutch rating right here. So that clutch turns into a base hit. And that will score. All right, let me double check. I think clutch is 2 stars, but I don't have it memorized, so let me double check it real quick. Clutch effects. Yes, clutch effects. Clutch hitting turns into a single star. So that will be enough to score Tabler from second. And that clutch single by Mel Hall has given the Indians a 4-0 lead. Morgan, 1 batter away from his point of weakness, facing Corey Snyder. Nothing on the 20. It's a 3-8. Snyder strikes out, but that's probably going to be all for Morgan. Don't know if they're going to go any further with him. He's given up 4 runs in 5 innings. So may not come back. We'll wait and see how it plays out. But right now the Indians lead it 4-0, and they seem pretty firmly in control of the whole thing. Facing Bill Ripken. 5-6. Swindell, that's a strikeout. Sixth inning is his start to his point of weakness, so there was a dot there, but he's certainly not fatigued yet because he hasn't given up anything. Not since the point of weakness began. Here's Cal Ripken. 3-4 against a lefty. That's a ground ball to short. So 2 down for Eddie Murray. Switch hitter batting right. And that's a 5-8. So Swindell against a right-hander, it struck him out. So Swindell has been cruising for a while now. Let's see. He walked a batter other than walking Sheets in the 4th. Since that double play, Ripken, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think he's got 11 out of the last 12. He's retired, so he is cruising. And they're going to go ahead and bring Morgan out, but the bullpen is ready. Doug Sisk is ready to come in as soon as Morgan gives up something. It's a 2-7, and that's a strikeout, so at least Morgan was able to get at least 1 out here in the 6th, save some of their bullpen. Let's try, see if we can go the whole inning. 4-2 is a ground ball to the pitcher, so that's going to work. So they might get an extra inning out of Morgan. That would be a bonus to save some of their bullpen, as their bullpen has been pretty much taxed every game. 5-7 for Morgan is a line out to second. There is a dot there, but he is not tired because he only gave up 2 hits in the first inning of weakness or whatever. So he is not tired technically. The line out to second will stand, and he survives to go 6 innings. How about that? So Morgan will go 6. He will be done at this point. They'll bring in Doug Sisk to pitch the 7th. So we go to the 7th. It is still 4-0 Indians. Swindell, 6 is his point of weakness, but he didn't give up anything in the 6th, so he's still good to go for a little bit. 2-10 for Lynn. That's a ballpark diamond shot. Lefties, it's 1-7. That's a 17. So that will be a fly to right field. So the D20 was not kind that time to Lynn. It's one of the first times the D20 has gone against the batter. Here's Sheets. 5-7. Swindell against a lefty. Ground ball second base X. That's Franco. He's a 3-E-15. A 3 and a 2. That's a base hit. Check the error. It's a 9 and he's an E-15. There is no 9, so it's just going to be a single. 1 out single for Sheets. Brings up Rick Shue. We get a 4-11. And that's a fly ball right field X. That's going to be Corey Snyder. He's a 2-E-6. 2 and a 20. He makes that play easily. It's a 5. That could be a rare play. That's going to be a rare play, so we'll check it out and see what happens. E6 and a 5 is a rare play on a fly to right, which is, with the 20, that is a F3. So we go to F3, rare play. The outfielder runs into the gap and makes the nice catch. The lead runner who lost sight of the ball and was running hard stops and tries to get back to his base. However, he cannot return in time as the outfielder fires the ball to the bag for a double play. But so that's going to take Sheets out of it. He went straight too far. So it's going to be a fly to right to Snyder for out number 2. And then Snyder throws to Upshaw to double off Larry Sheets, who I have no idea where he was going, but he'll have to answer to the management on that one. That was just a bad read. And he gets doubled off. Down 4-0. You have no business going anywhere. But he did, and he got doubled off and paid the price. So now Doug Sisk coming in for the Orioles. He will be the new pitcher. Doug Sisk. Still 4-0 ball game. And it's the top of the order. Julio Franco will get the call. To bat against Sisk. 4-10. Ground ball third base X. That's Rick Shue. He's a 4-E-27, so not very good. 4-11. He might get away with that. 4-11. And he does catch up to it. It's a 12 for the D6s, and his error rating is a 27. So 27 and a 12. E27. And unfortunately for Mr. Shu, the E27 shows a 12 right there. So it is an E5. One base error. E5. And I could run with Franco, or at least try it. However, Sisk, unlike the previous game, Sisk has a -3 hold rating. So plus they're up 4-0. So really there's no need. Just going to let Upshaw bat. We get a 4-5. Sisk against the lefty is a single to center field. So that's going to move Franco up to second. They'll hold him there. Nobody out. 4-0 lead. Here's Franco. I'm sorry, here's Tabler. So Sisk running into early trouble. 4-3. Fly ball left field X. That's Stone. He's a 4-11. That's an 8. A 4 and an 8. A 4 and an 8 for an outfielder. 4 and an 8 is a SI2. So that's going to be a single with 2 stars. And it's a 4 and an 11. So E11. And there's a one base error to add insult to injury. The E11 and a 4 is a one base error. So we got a single 2 stars for Tabler. So he will get credit for an RBI, driving in Franco. The 2 stars will send Upshaw to third, but then the E7 will score the run. So only gets 1 RBI, not 2. Tabler will also go to second on the error. So 2 errors in the inning. Not very good for the O's. They're kind of falling apart here. And they're not helping Mr. Sisk out at all. So runner at second, nobody out. 2 runs are in. It's 6-0. Here's Jacoby. It's a 1-8 for Jacoby. And that's a fly ball center field B, question mark. Tabler's not going to go anywhere. They're up. There's no reason to rub it in here. So here's Hall. 2 is a chance for a balk or a wild pitch. It's a chance for a wild pitch, and of course I got to look up Sisk wild pitch rating. Not that it really matters at this point in the game, but just to be efficient, we need to do that. So let's pull that up here. Let's go to, I'm on Cleveland, I need to go back to Baltimore and get off my screensaver at the same time. So we're looking for Sisk and to find out what his rating is. Sisk, there we go. Doug Sisk is a wild pitch rating 6. So wild pitch rating of 6 for Sisk. And of course he throws a wild pitch. Of course, it just had to happen. Had to happen. So runner moves up to third with 1 out. They're not even gonna play the infield anymore. It's pretty much over. 6-5 against a lefty is a fly ball center field B, so that's going to be a sacrifice fly anyway, infield in or not. So the run will score on that sacrifice fly. Obviously an unearned run there. Both runs were unearned. Not that it matters. 2 runs are in. 3 runs are in, actually. It's now 7-0. There are 2 outs, and here's Corey Snyder. The good news is the Orioles only have to pitch 8 innings, not 9. 1-3 for Corey Snyder is a fly to right, and that's going to end the inning. So 3 runs are in, and I believe 2 of them were unearned. Not that it matters at this point. I'm not keeping season stats. I'm just doing the wins and losses for the O's. So Sisk may be done for the day. We'll see. Now, Swindell's still going. I mean, there's no sense taking him out. He's pitching a shutout. Why mess with him? Here is Kennedy, 1-5 against a lefty. That's a fly to center. 1 away. Joe Orsolak. 2-5 against a lefty is a ground ball to second. 2 down for Jeff Stone. Jeff Stone. 2-9 for Stone against a lefty is a pop out to first, and the inning is over. So we go to the bottom of the 8th. Still Cleveland 7, Baltimore nothing. Timeout. Okay, bottom of the 8th, and the Orioles are bringing in Tom Niedenfuhr. I know he's their closer, but he hasn't been needed in a while, so they want to get him some work. and save some of the other guys in the bullpens who've been working so long. Here's Dave Clark. 3-6 against the right-hander is a strikeout, so 1 away. Brings up Jay Bell, so Niedenfuhr will get to face the bottom of the order. 5-4 is a line out to third, handled by Shu. 2 down for Andy Allenson. 6-8 is a strikeout, so Niedenfuhr goes 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. So we go to the top of the 9th, and the only drama here is whether Swindell can pitch the full shutout, as they lead it 7-0, and Swindell still hasn't reached his point of weakness because he's only given up 1 hit since reaching the 6th inning, so he's still good to go. Bill Ripken is the scheduled hitter. He will be called back, and let's see who they're going to go with here. All their good hitters are lefties, so makes you wonder. But even so, they may still go with them. We go with Jim Dwyer. He's a veteran. He's a lefty, but he's still a veteran. And he's a better hitter than Bill Ripken. So I'll take the chance and use Jim Dwyer as the pinch hitter. Start the 9th here against Swindell. Lefty on lefty. 6-5. 6-5. It's going to be a base hit. 1-13 is a double. And a 6-5. It would have been the same for righty. So 1-13 is a double. It's a double for Jim Dwyer, a pinch hit double. So now the Indian bullpen is starting to loosen just in case Swindell loses it all of a sudden. You got Jeff Dedman in the bullpen. 2, that's a chance for a balk or a wild pitch. I'm sorry, a balk or a pass ball. It's a balk rating, but Swindell has no balk rating, so we continue. 1-7 for Ripken against a lefty is a single to left. So that's going to put runners at first and second with nobody, I'm sorry, first and third with nobody out. So they've been down this path before. Can they do it again? Here's Eddie Murray and Swindell, 1 pitch away, 1 batter away from his point of weakness, or 1 hit away. 5-4, switch hitter batting right. 5-4 is a fly ball center field X. That is Mel Hall. He's a 4. That's an 18, so it looks like he'll get to it, but it probably is going to be a sacrifice fly. It's a 9, and he is an E13. There is no 9, but we'll check the 18 on the 4. 4 and an 18 is an F2, and an F2, yep, sacrifice fly. So sacrifice fly to center, that will break up the shutout as Jim Dwyer will score. So give Eddie Murray an RBI. Cuts the lead to 7-1. There's now 1 out for Fred Lynn. Nothing on the 21-11 for Lynn is a fly ball to center. That's 2 away. So last chance, Larry Sheets. 1 out away from a complete game for Swindell. Lost the shutout, but can get the complete game, obviously. 4-7 for Swindell against a lefty is a ground ball shortstop X. That's Jay Bell. He's a 4 E24. 4 and a 13, I believe, is a good play. 4 is shortstop. 4 and a 13. Yes, he will get to it. 7, and he is an E24. So third base, I'm sorry, shortstop, E24. There is no 7, so it's a good play, and that's the ball game. Or as they used to say on Bugs Bunny, that's all, folks. 7-1, the Orioles get the victory. I'm sorry, the Indians get the victory. That's 6 consecutive losses for the O's. They will now fire Cal Ripken Sr., and Frank Robinson will take over as they head home to the not-so-friendly confines of Memorial Stadium to take on Bo Jackson and the Kansas City Royals. That'll be the next game. But the final here again, Cleveland 7, Baltimore 1. Winning pitcher is Swindell. Complete game. Loser is Morgan. And until next time, we will see you all down the road.